we are going to start lying down. If you have a blanket or a prop you want to put underneath your tail, your sacrum, you're welcome to do so. So if you have a wall like I do here, that makes it really easy. You'll kind of snug up beside the wall with your hip or your shoulder. And then as you lie back, you can really easily kind of pivot, easily and awkwardly pivot yourself up with your legs on the wall. If you don't have a clear wall, you can always use a piece of furniture, a table, a chair, something just to hook your heels over. So there's no effort to hold your legs here for this brief reset. So taking a moment, often we finish practice in this way, and we may still finish in this way. But for now, it's just to reset your spine, your sacrum, your nervous system. Take a moment with your head held heavy back and just turn your head a little left and right. Place your left hand on your heart and your right hand on your belly. And just take a deep, full breath in. And a sigh. And a deep, full breath in. Hold the breath for a moment at the top. Open the mouth to relax the jaw as you sigh. Do that 2 more times. Full breath in. Close your eyes. Let the tension dissolve from your face, from your shoulders, your chest, your arms, all the way from the bottoms of the feet here, draining now back into the torso. Now we'll be here just a couple of minutes. If it gets uncomfortable, adjust as you need to always. And know the difference between avoiding the sensation or needing to shift. I'll read from our BKS Iyengar book tonight to start tonight's practice. And this morning's practice with breath and move, we touched on the think light, feel light. And this is sort of the idea with chilling our nervous system to rid the weight and the heaviness that can sometimes come both physically and mentally throughout the day as we're exposing ourselves to so much of our external world. When should asana poses be soft and when should it be rigid? In motion, the whole muscle should be like the petals of the flower, open and soft. Never be rigid in motion. Only be rigid after you have acquired the position. As a farmer plows a field and makes the ground soft, a yogi plows his nerves so they can germinate and make a better life. This practice of yoga is to remove weeds from the body so that the garden can grow. If the ground is too hard, what life can grow there? If the body is too stiff and the mind is too rigid, what life can it live? In contrast to rigidity, tension is not good or bad. It has to be present at the right time in the right amount. Weighing or balancing it evenly is life. There is nothing in this world where yogis say there should be no tension at all. Even dead bodies have tension. You have to find the right amount of tension in your body. The right amount will keep all of your energy in your body. Too much tension is aggression. Injuries come by aggression, by doing aggressive movements, not by doing yoga. But too little tension is weakness. There should be right tension in the body. Right tension is healthy tension. You have to bring everything to life in your body. Remember, never be rigid in motion. Extension is tension, but it is different than rigidity. Rigidity makes us brittle and causes us to lose our balance. Balance must be achieved at every level of our body and our being. Using Iyengar's words here and the idea of the legs being held, there is still a tension and an awareness that the mind has over the physicalness of the body in this position. And as you breathe in, you're moving energy into the lower limbs despite their position in space. As you breathe out, there's a softening of the outer shell, but not a full release of tension. Though we may reference that in our wording, fully release your face, fully release your shoulders, there is still a connection of the limbs into the sockets into the torso, and the muscles, the ligaments, the tendons are what hold us together. And of course, there is an amount of tension. It's about how much tension. Wherever the legs are, you'll start to draw the knees in towards the chest. Take a deep breath in, a sighing breath out. You might right away feel the blood flow shift in the legs. You'll roll onto one side. Take a moment on your side with your head and your arm sort of curled up into a little ball. And you'll feel that tension again dissolving back into, or I should say, away from the heart and into the limbs. So there is an energy of movement of the blood flow, the circulation, the circulatory system. This also moves our lymphatic system. All of these are direct lines and connections to the whole. In time, gradually make your way back up to a tall seated position. With your eyes closed, place your hands either on your heart center, one over the other, or palms together. Whichever position you've chosen, feel the height and length of your spine, the widening of your chest towards your hands, a deepening of your breath. Taking a moment to honor the connection to the ground, to the earth in which you're practicing on here. The indigenous roots and the connection that we create and cultivate to the original caretakers of these lands. And bowing our head inward in honor of the yoga asana and pranayama lineage of the practice of yoga, passed through us or to us through the teachings of yoga in India. And setting any other dedication or commitment you like to set here, perhaps the word clarity, ease, balance, breath come to mind. But there is an energy to our breath that can bring tension and release it. Gradually bringing your chin back up to neutral, you'll release your hands to your knees. Tilt your left ear to your left shoulder. Take a moment to feel the level of your shoulders, so you're not dropping into your rib cage, but staying tall through your mid-body. And then bring the chin slightly down towards the front of the chest and reach your right arm away from you. Extend your left arm up and over and just catch the outer edge ear of the right side with your left finger. So you'll find there's a ridge line just behind that ear. And your fingers of your right hand reaching away actively. And relax the shoulder from your ear, left shoulder. Relax your jaw in your mouth. But keep your lips sealed. Inhale for a count of 5, 4, 3, 2. Pause at the very top. Relax the jaw. Steady exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause. Inhale for 5. Pause at the top, relax the jaw, the shoulder. Exhale, 5. One more. Like you're dragging the breath up the back, up the shoulder, off the edge of the neck, and back down again. Keep your head where it is. Release the left hand. Bring your left fingertips to the outer edge of your face and really slowly bring the head back to neutral. Relax your right hand back to your lap, left hand to your lap. Breath in, breath out. That strength of Ujjayi, that breath of fire, is so key here. Take a moment with the eyes closed. Tilt your right ear to your right shoulder. When you first do that, you've just stretched out that right side, so it'll take a moment. Keep the rib cage centered, filling on both sides. Turn the chin slightly down towards your front of your right shoulder. Extend your left arm away from you. And then reach the right arm up and over and just catch behind the ear, that ridge line. Couple of fingers, just tack the fingers into the outer ear edge. And then let the head drop and let the arm drop. You're not pulling on anything. You're just letting the weight of your hand on the head be enough. While you're here, relax the jaw. Exhale fully. Let's inhale for 5, 4, 3, 2. At the very top, pause. Relax the jaw. 5, 4, 3, 2. Pause. Sip the breath in. Hear the sounding quality. Wait for the pause. Relax the face. Exhale. One more. Keep your head where it is. Release the right hand. Use the right hand to tilt the head back to neutral. Eyes closed. Left hand to your lap. Right hand to your lap. Breath in. Breath out. Now this one, you'll take your hands to interlace. Pull your chin towards your chest, and you'll bring the hands just to the base of the skull, and you'll hook your fingers just underneath the ridge line behind the head at the top of the neck and pull upward. And as you pull up, feel the front of your chest open up. So the front of the chest, as Iyengar so eloquently speaks of, is like opening up the doorway. So opening up the pillars of the front of the chest, but then allowing the head to descend, releasing neck tension, which releases mind tension. As you pull forward and up gently, relax the elbows in and let the chin come deeper towards the front of the sternum, front of the chest. Now harder to breathe perhaps here. Exhale fully. Inhale for 5. Pause at the top. Exhale for 5. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. One more. Relax the face, the jaw. Keep the spine tall. Now stay just a little longer and round a little into your upper back. You might feel just a little more connection of tension that's built up over time that we want to dissipate with the exhalation. Now pull the front of the chest up and open. Release the hands and nudge the head back up to center. And when you get to center, you'll take your finger pads right into the space just below your collarbones. And if you've got a necklace or anything like I do, go underneath it. So you're right on the skin and then pull down like you're stretching the skin on the front of the neck. As you tack down the fingers just under the bones, seal the lips and lift your chin upward. You don't have to go very far and you'll start to feel the fascia lines of the front of the throat stretching. Exhale fully. Keep the tension pulling down. Inhale for 5. Exhale for 5. Take a pause, relax the jaw. Inhale, lips are sealed. Exhale, chin stays lifted. One more, breathe in. Breathe out. Lean forward. Let the head come forward naturally. Release the hands. Sit for a moment, eyes closed. Breathe in, 5. Pause at the top of your inhale. Relax the face, relax the jaw. Exhale, 5. Keep going for 2 more cycles, counting that breath or at least elongating it to a point where you meet the edges. So you're not rushing to find the next breath, but you're holding on to the one that you've got. You'll feel when you stretch the breath is that idea of tension that Iyengar speaks of. There's purposeful tension, necessary tension, and then there's too much aggression in our tension. We'll do a little jaw release here, and then we'll add in a little eye stretch. Then we're going to move into the hips. So we'll take the right fingers. If you want to switch the cross of your legs, you've been there for a bit, go for it. Take the fingers along the ridge line of your jaw, about where your ear and your eye would come across. That'd be your temple, just below the temple. And then bring the head back to neutral, so it's directly forward. Now close your eyes, and you can either walk what I call little kitty paws or cat paws up and down that jawline, just below the ridge. So walk below, and then find a point where it might be even a bit tender, and press in and just rub really gently front to back, like a little saw trying to cut through the tension. Full breath in, full breath out. Bring your fingers just above that ridge, below the temple. Walk the cat paws till you find this sensitive area. Sometimes it's closer to the ear, to that jaw connection point. So where the jaw opens and closes, sometimes it's closer to the eye. Find a spot, pressure in, a little rub front to back, breath in. Breath out. Walk your fingers right to the point where the jaw, you can feel if you open and close your mouth, where the jaw releases. Relax the jaw, keep the lips sealed, and slide your fingers down that line till you meet the underside of the jaw, just below the ear, and then pull straight down with 2, 3, or 4 fingers. And do that a couple of times. And this is a draining of the lymph glands from the throat, the main lymph drainage exists here. We want to drain anything that's not needed, whether it's just that bit of tension that we've been holding in our neck or our throat, things we're not saying, allowing ourselves that space. Do that one more time. And then we'll go to the other side, left hand, find the ridge line, go underneath, head back to center, eyes closed. Kitty paws up and down, find that sensitive spot if there is one. If there isn't, just find the center, seesaw front to back, breath in. Pause at the top, breath out. Walk the fingers above the ridge line. Find the point, maybe a little closer to the jaw connection. Seesaw front to back, breath in. Breath out. Find that edge to the ear. That's sort of where you sit. You go right to the ear and then you'll press in. I like to use the 2 main fingers, but you can go 3 or 4, and you're going to pull down and relax the jaw as you do. It might move out of the way. And then just under the ear, you're draining down that edge of the throat. Keep the head centered if you can, just to feel into that alignment line. Now we drain this gland down into the main glands, which are under the arms, which help to also rid the body of anything that's not needed, viral or bacterial in some cases, working against and invigorating our immune systems. We're working against illness in the long run. One more time. I feel really good for the jaw. If you tend to clench, or I found lately I've been grinding my teeth or clenching my jaw at night, this can be really good to do at night. Now you're going to take both hands, and all you're going to do is hold the face and then pull down along your jaw towards your chin or just underneath if that felt good. And we're going to go inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Go back to the top. Exhale for 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 7. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 7. At the bottom, keep your eyes closed for a moment. Just relax your hands. We're going to take pauses between these transitions just to allow for the clearing. Again, you can switch up the seat. We're going to move from here very shortly. We're going to do one more stretch, this one for the eyes. Come a little closer. So we're going to move our eyes like a clock. And your eyes will be open. So from your horizon line, I want you to keep the chin neutral, your chest broad and open, and look straight up. 12 o'clock. Now with the breath of Ujjayi carrying on, you'll look to 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, straight down over the bridge of your nose, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. From 12, close your eyes, relax your face, breath in, breath out. Now look straight up, open the eyes, 12 o'clock, go the other way, 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, notice where your head wants to turn, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Close your eyes, relax your face, breath in, breath out. The tension of the eyes and what we see connects to the occipital part of the brain, which actually resides in the back of the brain. Often we think what we see comes in through the forehead center, but it's not. It moves into the back, excuse me. From here, we'll open the eyes again, and we'll come into a kneeling position on all fours. Take a moment, you've been cross-legged for a little while, so let's move the hips side to side. Feel the femur slide into the hip socket. Now, if your knees are sensitive, put a blanket or a towel underneath, and we're just going to circle the hips one direction. Doesn't matter which way to start, so think over, back, side, forward. You can make this roll as big or as small as you'd like. Again, if knees are sensitive, cushion them for sure. Activate the feet, press down through the feet and the hands. Come back to center, pause, go the other way. Now, have any blocks that you need handy within reach. Bolster will work here too. You'll come back to center. Now you'll bring your right foot around to the outside of your right hand into a lunge position. Now, wherever you're at in your lunge, I'm going to take something you can lean into, whether it's books or blocks, and get a little bit taller. Get a little bit taller and press down through the top of your left foot behind you. Now, as we talked, or Iyengar in his book talks about the idea of tension. There's purposeful tension in extension. So we're extending the muscle here in the front of the hip, which connects to the lower back and into our diaphragm. So as we breathe, we're effectively stretching, we're adding tension to that long line, that long limb. Now, if you feel this here, just stay here. There's no need to go any further. Option 2 is to press down into your left foot and see if the left knee might lift up. And that's going to add a little more tension. Notice your heart might lean a bit forward Keep the openness of your chest broad. You can even go higher on your blocks if that feels better. Think shoulders, heads of the arm bones come back. Your right knee is kind of hugging into the right arm. You could even have a hand on the knee if that's helpful. If the hips are back, you're just lifting your heart up and over time creating space for the front of the hip. What we don't want is to just collapse in here. We want to have some action up, some tension lift, and then an expression through the top of the foot, through the ankle, through that front of the hip joint. And then you'll release the knee down. Now, wherever you are, your left hand's going to stay down, and your right hand, if it's not on that knee, is going to come up, and you'll pull your hip like you want to push your thigh into your palm. As you push in, kind of pops you up. We want to come up so that our sacrum is really stable, and then we look over the shoulder. Now, again, you can stay here and deepen your breath. That's enough to get deep into that hip, but the option is still there if you want to press into the top of the foot and lift the knee. Even if it's just for an instant or a little bit, you're starting to build a new muscle memory to the outer or the front side of that left leg. You'll place it back down, come around. Now you'll take your right hand all the way to the floor and pull your hips straight back. And I say to the floor because we want to get lower, and we'll move the blocks forward out of the way. You'll bring your heart down. Now you can be on fingertips, knuckles, or palms, and your front leg goes straight. You can tuck your back toes, no problem. Reset the knee as often as you need to keep it comfortable. But from here, it's similar to a cow spine. We're trying to pull the heart forward and trying to lift the tail up. So that's creating a flatter, longer spine. Now, again, if it's too intense, bring those blocks back into play to give you a greater expression. Blocks are never, ever diminishing, but they help bring the floor just that little bit higher, even if it's the lowest setting, gives you a little more space. Now we're going to add in the cat spine. So you'll round out your back, keep the legs the same, tuck the tail under, chin in towards chest, press, press, press. Then inhale, pull the heart forward. Keep the front leg as straight as you can. A little bend is fine. Exhale to round. Inhale to stretch, pull forward. Exhale to round. Again, you can be as high or as low on these blocks as you choose, as you need. Now this one, we're going to bend the knee. You'll come back into your tabletop position. Right leg comes back around. From here, we'll go to the other side. So left leg comes forward, outer edge of the mat. You start low, flip your back foot to flat, pull the heart forward, and bring any prop that's supporting you into play here. There's an intensity to the hips because where there's tension, there's often, as Iyengar says, anger or aggression. And that's in a releasing. Remembering that with anger, with aggression, there can also be sadness, frustration. These are all what are sometimes referenced as below the line ways of thinking, coming from our low self, or what we call in yoga, our small s self, or ego-centered self. As we move into the big S self, we're in that more soulful, more connection, and higher above the line thinking. Staying here and just adding breath is plenty. If you feel the need to push into the top of the foot, you want a little more fire, a little more expression of that line, you can do so. Your left toes are forward, your knee and your ankle are stacked, and a nice long line in your spine. Good. At any height, wherever you are here, you'll take your left hand onto your left thigh, turn, and when you go to push the hand into the thigh, pull the hip slightly back, like you're trying to push your thigh into your hand to your thigh, and then look over the shoulder. And a stable sacrum, maybe see if that leg can lift on this side. Now, I know harder for myself on this side, and you might find one side harder than the other, where you're holding tension. Allow there to be a softening to get into the asana. As you said, in movement, we want to be like the flower petal, really gentle, yet expressive, strong. As you unwind here, you'll bring your left hand all the way to the floor to start. And it's just getting inside that hip joint. Pull your hips straight back. Tuck the back toes if that's available. You can bring your fingertips, knuckles. You can grab those blocks again if you like. And pull your heart forward to cowl spine, like you're trying to lift your tail and your heart up. If the neck is kinking or straining here, pull the chin in, but keep the eyes targeted forward, maybe off the edge of the mat, so you're not straining. Even a little lift on your blocks can create a really big expression change in your spine. We're taking some cat-cows here, so we're adding in the rounding. Exhale fully, chin to chest, push, push, push. And inhale, tail comes up behind, a little bend in the knee. Exhale back. Inhale, lift. Exhale back. As you come forward, bend your knee. Come back into your tabletop position. Widen the knees, big toes touch, stretch back, child's pose. Soften the rib cage, knowing there's a tension pulling your hips back towards your heels. If the knees are limited, keep the hips higher. We'll come back up onto all fours. You'll turn to face the long edge of your mat. And from the long edge, you'll separate the feet a little wider than your hips, and then rotate both knees to one direction. Well, in my case, I'm going to turn left first. So to my left, the left shin is in front. The femur is straight up along the long edge on the other side, and the long edge of the mat, setting up our deer position here. Now we have this bit of rotation to work out in our spine and our hip and our inner groin. So as you lean out to one side, give your body some space to then roll your right hip more forward. As it comes more forward in line, we don't want to overdo that because it'll cause compression in the low back, but have a little bit forward and then lean in the direction of travel. So towards your left knee. And this is where a prop A bolster could really come in handy. If you want to lean all the way down and rest your head, you're welcome to do that. You can also prop up underneath your chest and lay all the way down, left or right ear. Right ear will create a little more rotation in the spine, the cervical spine. Otherwise, just to elbows and forearms. Think of the lengthening of your spine beyond the crown of your head. Like you're pulling the center of your chest, your sternum forward. And if you're on forearms, there's a bit of action to push down and pull forward. If you widen now and let your heart melt on top of something, allow there to be some passive energy here. Letting the head rest on something, whether it's stacked hands, whether it's right onto a pillow or a cushion, letting that facial expression soften, deepen your breath a little more. Keep dragging the breath up from the base and all the way out. Creating a lightness in time. With every breath, we have the ability to open up space and then to walk into that space. Always think of the breath like an inhale to open the door and an exhale to walk through it. When there's tension in the jaw, tension in the eyes, the neck gets tense, and in turn, our brain and our mind get tense. Let things continue to soften while maintaining attention, intention to the breath. Walk your hands back up underneath. Lean out to the left side and then really slowly here, just unwind your legs. Let them swing a little side to side. And we're going all the way over to the other side now. If you're using the blocks and the props, grab them as you go. So for me, I'm just going to bring a single block. If you want a pillow or a cushion, bolster, bring it with you. Adjust to the little running man on this side, or what's known as deer pose. The thigh, the key here is straight, and your left hip, roll it forward. Take a moment in there, feel what's available for space, and then start to bring the whole body forward. Over the knee, you might be out on a bit of an angle, gradually walking the elbows or the hands in towards the front of the shin. Even if it's just a block under the forehead, can feel really good for just letting the neck and the shoulders release. Iyengar is known for his holding of postures for incredible amounts of time. In all of his teachings, he speaks of when you want out of the pose is when the yoga begins. It's where we see the true colors, the ways of the mind, the fluctuations, and what we tend to. My teacher, Baron, who trained under Iyengar, always would say, how we do anything is how we do everything. If you do your yoga practice with intention, you move through life with intention. If you do your yoga practice with lethargy and fatigue and weakness, you'll move through life in the same way. There's a great representation of the mat as a mirror. Let your mat be a mirror into the rest of how you live. It's here that you can play and explore and make changes to how you've been living. and perhaps shifting into new ways. There's so many amazing stories of people starting yoga much later in life and finding amazing healing benefits, whether through arthritis, through weight loss, just through lowering blood pressure and being more mindful. It's also been said in lots of research now on the decrease of Alzheimer's and dementia through meditation, breath work, and asana. Continue to soften into the pose rather than force away from tension. Think long breath, just as you have a long spine, a wide open chest. And gradually, in your own time, start to come back up, slowly leaning out to the right. Unwind, bringing the knees back up through center, a little sway from side to side. And we'll do a variation tonight of frog, but reclined. So what that means, if you haven't done this before, if you have a wall is best, but again, if you have a piece of furniture, that can work too. You'll come back up to the edge of your hip to the wall. You'll roll up until the feet come back up. If you want to watch here for a moment, it's similar to, you can go butterfly if that feels better in your knees. Otherwise, you can let the feet come out, flexion to the sides. And this just decreases pressure in the knees, but increases tension in the inner lines of the legs. So letting gravity, almost like someone put some blocks or some weights on your feet, letting the knees come out to the sides. When I was healing my knee and doing teacher training, I would do my frog in this way just to avoid pressure on the knees. Now, if anything doesn't feel good, adjust as needed. Otherwise, palms open, close your eyes. We'll be about 2 minutes here. So see if you can stay with your breath, steady inflow, steady outflow, sinking the sacrum, your tail. You might feel your feet shift. If you're on a wall, it's great. If you have a piece of furniture, a couch would work as well. That can be helpful. Otherwise, feet can stay together in that diamond shape. Draw the breath all the way from the base, up the back of the neck, heavy with the head. And you'll gradually take your hands outside of your thighs, outside of the shins and knees, and you'll close the legs back together. The feet can stay here for a moment. Take a breath. Let it go. Roll onto one side, cradle your head in your arm. And you'll gradually press your way back up, just long enough to align blocks or bolsters for a chest opener. You have a block or a bolster, you can use that from head to tail to head. You'll lie back. If you've got two blocks, that's all you really need, or some books or a rolled up blanket, and you'll place them lengthwise, one for the head, one for the shoulders. Go ahead and lie back. Keep the feet flat. So that was a big opening for the inner legs. And we want to realign and allow the sacrum to soften. So let the knees now fall into each other and walk your feet out until you feel like there's very little, if any, tension in the legs. Of course, there will be some as the tension of the tendons, the ligaments, but allowing the muscle tension to go. And let your head go heavy. Let your arms fall open. You can go as high or as low with your hands as you'd like. Close your eyes, sigh. Let your jaw drop. Seal the lips. Breathe in with purposeful tension for 5, 4, 3, 2. Relax the shoulders. Exhale, sigh. Now let your breath go completely. Let it enter and exit as it needs, but no need to force or push or pull any direction. Send your vision behind your eyelids to your mid-brow and let your gaze soften. Your facial muscles relax. Allow yourself this time to absorb, digest all that you've done. If it's starting to feel okay in your lower back, you can stretch your legs long and let your feet fall apart. Keep resting. Keep feeling the layers fall away. Letting your body fall more and more deeply into a state of release. Purposeful tension dissolving. Now, if this is feeling really good and you want to stay here, by all means, stay here, sign off as you like. As you feel called to shift or move from this position, you'll slide your feet back to flat. Roll off your props to one side. Pause for a moment. And gradually pushing your way back up. Finding that tall seat. Your hands on your heart center or palms to touch. Take a moment to bow inward. Recognition of your time, your energy, your commitment, and your intention. To move with intention, to move with direction. And bow to your light. Namaste.